Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Shaper Sessions. My name is Jake.
And I'm Russ.
And tonight, we are talking about a new product that we have out and a fantastic addition to the system, the Edge Mortising Adapter.
This guy right here.
Super exciting.
What is the Edge Mortising Adapter? It's a new adapter for the Shaper Plate, our universal template for Origin, and it helps you put edge mortises into big honkin' workpieces like this door right here.
It goes back to that original intent of Origin of bringing the thing to the workpiece, bringing plate to the workpiece today.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to show you a bunch of demos on how we use this thing. We're going to install some architectural hinges in the store. We're going to do this in a big piece of wood, like some joinery. We've got that off to the side over here. We'll bring that in. And then last but not least, we're going to show you a cabinetry application. We've got the Salice Air Hinge, which is one of our favorite concealed hinges, and the Edge Mortising Adapter makes it super easy to align and install those. But before we get started, as always, a little bit of introduction. This is Shaper Sessions, our bi-weekly live demo of the Shaper system. And it's live, so like everything that happens is just gonna be what it is.
It's just gonna be what it is. Exactly.
Sometimes we make mistakes, but we all learn from those together. Hopefully everybody learns something in the process, and definitely make sure to ask questions, So at the end of every show, we do a live question and answer segment. If you're tuning in live, you get to see that. If you're tuning in on demand after the fact on YouTube, make sure you join us live next year so that you can catch that Q&A. And to ask those questions, you're going to drop them in the chat. We've got Ted in the chat today taking those questions. He's going to answer as many as he can. And the questions that get a demo will show at the end of the show.
And that poll question today, just so you can ruminate on it a little bit, is going to be, what was your biggest challenge with Origin, for those of you that own Origin, this year?
Yeah, so it's the end of 2023. We're doing some self-reflection, right?
Yeah,
we try to make this an educational hour. We want to teach you guys how to use this stuff. And so we want to know, what have you had trouble with? And another way to put that maybe also is, what topics do you want to see on Shaper Sessions for 2024? So feel free to get that discussion going in the chat as well. But we will have that poll question that pops up halfway through the show, and you're going to enter there to win our giveaway.
Which is a good one.
So this week,
it's a real good one.
This week we've got two giveaways. The first one, we're going to start with the big one. Yeah, the Edge Mortising Adapter itself. We're giving away an Edge Mortising Adapter. So this is awesome. If you've got plate, which we know a lot of people do, it's going to level up your game with plate. And then the other thing that we're going to be using today is that 8mm long reach router bit. So we're giving away an Edge Mortising Adapter and an 8mm long reach router bit. Awesome stuff. To enter that giveaway, respond to the poll question, and that's going to pop up about halfway through the show. We'll announce it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Let's just get started.
Let's do it. We're cutting what hinge today?
We're cutting a Sugatsuni HES 3D 120.
I feel like you know that name.
I know. I've
by
worked with
heart
these
now.
a lot. So let's just show this on, I think the bench cam here would be good. See these? This is pretty slick. This is a completely concealed hinge. If you're familiar with sauce hinges, this works in a kind of similar way. The trick to these is that they're adjustable in 3 axes. So with those sauce hinges where you have to really nail them exactly right on the dot every time, these are a little adjustable. Shaper Origin is absolutely going to help you nail that right on the money every time anyway. But when you're working with a door and houses, who doesn't have a house that's shifted a little bit over time, So these adjustable hinges really help with that.
And of course, you can find them on the hardware catalog, along with a whole range of other concealed hinges from other companies. But yeah, everything that Sugatsuni has to offer.
Yeah, so let's cut this. Let's show you how easy it is. Then we'll show you the hardware catalog. We'll show you setting up the Edge Mortising Adapter. But let's get started. What do you think? Cool. So we've got this guy. It's already attached to plate. We'll show you some different options for attaching this to plate in a minute. But first, I just want to cut this hinge. So what I'm going to do is line this center mark of the Edge Mortising Adapter up with the mark that I've made on the door. I'm going to take these quick clamps, and this is the beauty of this Edge Mortising Adapter, is you can just use these quick clamps to clamp plate right in place there. So this is rock solid. And now I'm going to bring Origin up in to the works. Lost my vacuum hose there. Let's get that back on. And then, because this is television, last but not least, we've got one more camera to attach to this get up here. All right, so we'll get this on. Goose, how's that look? Thumbs up? Yeah, Goose says that looks good. Okay, cool. So let's switch to the Origin cam. We've got a preset plate workspace. Remember, plate is your universal template for Origin, so you store these workspaces. You can always return to them indefinitely. This is a workspace that's set up to cut exactly this HES 3D 120 hinge, and you access that in that workspaces tab. So we've got all of these plate workspaces that we're going to use on the show today, preset. So we'll just jump back there. I'm going to go right into cut mode because this is already set up. A couple things that I need to make sure of. I want to make sure that my router bit diameter is set. I'm going to use that 8mm router bit for this. You always want to Z-touch. Great. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and just use AutoPass to update that pocket depth. So that's automatically updated to 0.256 for this pocket. And then we'll use that to update the other pocket depth for the second pocket. And then I'm going to go ahead and clean those up.
Sweet.
What do you say, Jake? Should I just let it rip?
Let it rip.
All right, nice. Hit the vacuum here.
All right. It's got a fresh 8mm bit in there, and that thing is razor sharp coming out of the box. So sharp you should definitely watch yourself as you're opening it up for the first time. And it makes quick work of these large pockets. Sounds like he's going to cut everything to a 0-inch offset as well. Everything in the hardware catalog is designed line to line. So if you cut to 0 and the fit is too snug for your liking, of course you can always take negative offsets off of it. But we find, especially with hardware, good snug fit is what we want. In addition, every hardware catalog file that you download is going to have those encoded depths preset in there for you. So it's going to tell you each pass goes to this depth, and if you accidentally go over that depth or try to go over that depth, it's going to give you a warning on the screen, making sure that you're absolutely sure that you meant to do that. All right.
All right. Let's see
Perfect.
how it fits.
Like butter.
There we go. That's a good fit right there. So we got those encoded depths. It's right to depth. And with that 0-inch offset, it is right on the line. So that's money right there. It feels good.
Nice.
And it would be pretty hard to do this any other way, you know?
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you know, if you're doing this with a plunge router, you need a whole bunch of router templates. That's the beauty of Plate, is that all this stuff is stored and it's ready to go right when you need it.
Yep. So if you want to bump up to the next size hinge or size down, all within it.
So let's take this off and let's talk about the edge mortising adapter a little bit more broadly. Yeah, why don't we go ahead and unbox the one that we've got off to the side there. Tell people what's in the box. Pretty
What's in the
straightforward.
box? Yes. It is a... Voila. There we go. And nicely held edge mortising adapter.
Beautiful. I mean, that's really it for the box.
That is it. There's
pretty
that's
straightforward.
That is the beauty of it, though.
There's not a lot of hardware for this thing. It has 2 screws. These are captive screws, so you're never going to lose these. They're actually kind of caught in this rib here. And then it has these 2 locating pins. And yeah, Goose says, let's show this off on the camera. So let's see if you can see that on this Mortis cam here. So you can see those locating pins, and then you've got that captive screw right there. Nice and knurled. It's got a little recess for a 4mm hex wrench, the same hex wrench we use for everything else on Origin and Workstation, if you're so inclined to really snug these down. But I've found that just finger tight works great.
Yeah.
And that fits in these, if we go to the overhead cam here, Goose, that fits in these sets of threaded and precision drilled holes on the edge of plate. So there's a whole bunch of ways that you could attach this thing. The way that I was using it there was actually just right in the middle of plate's window. I'm going to bring this down a little bit farther so you can see. Right in the middle of plate's window, that's my favorite place to use the edge mortising adapter because it gives you that 0-0 alignment that's baked into the grid points that you use when you make your first grid, typically with plate. Some other ways, though, that you could use the edge mortising adapter are, for example, if you need maximum support, you could place it right in the middle of plate. Now, this stuff's super stiff and rigid, so it's going to support you pretty much no matter where you put it. But when you put that edge mortising adapter closer to the physical center of the entire plate body, that's going to give you kind of the most even support across the whole thing. Then you can, let's see, I mean, you could put it facing this way in the center line if you want to work behind you. And then last but not least, also, you can use this in kind of that same classic fence position. And now all of these holes are drilled such that they're on 25 millimeter increments, and that kind of jives with the way that we've organized this plate window. So when you think about the center of the plate window down to the fence, that's 50 millimeters. So when I place this edge mortising adapter in this pair of holes, that is also minus 50 millimeters. So it's the same exact place that that fence will be if you deploy the fence. And we're going to use the edge mortising adapter in this orientation later in the show. So we'll show you a couple different ways to use it.
Cool. Call it the perma-fence.
Yeah, the perma-fence. You could also, get a whole second plate, set up the edge mortising adapter with the perma-fence, and then it's just ready to go whenever you need it. No more fence deploying. Last but not least, I mean, this is a pretty simple thing. I just want to show you these markings here. Is this a good camera angle, Goose? So we've got the center point right here, and then we've got these 2 side points, and we're also going to use these later in the show. These correspond to that plus 70 millimeters and minus 70 millimeters that the side flags on plate are referenced to. So everything's all aligned kind of the same way. You've got your center point, which is at 0 in the x-axis, plus 70, minus 70, or vice versa, depending on which way you've got the edge mortising adapter oriented. I think that covers it. What do you think?
That's it.
Then maybe moving on, the one thing that we have gotten a lot of questions about, Jake, is what's the difference if I've got plate with the edge mortising adapter compared to Workstation? You know, you've got kind of both of these 2 things that do vertical work holding.
Yep.
So
and it's a good question. They are very similar. We like to say that you're going to benefit from having both. They have very unique use cases, I would say. That plate is going to be where you're taking it to the workspace versus Workstation is when you're bringing things to it.
Yeah.
So, and think about scale too in regards to that.
Totally. When we think about plate, we think about localized features. So maybe a drawer pull, for instance, on a big cabinet door, or big hinges like this where they're localized, corner rounding, things like that. Maybe engraving your signature or doing localized inlays. When we think about workstation, we think about vertical fixturing, repeatability, and maybe work holding for small flat parts as well, using that workstation shelf.
Yeah.
So some examples of things that we would use workstation for are maybe furniture parts.
Yep. Mortise and tenon, box joints, dovetails. That's all going to happen on workstation.
That's all going to happen on workstation. Small parts, like maybe if you're machining some small pieces out of brass, that's going to be on workstation shelf. But then when you get that combination of localized feature, maybe vertical work holding, which you might kind of typically associate with workstation, and a really, really big part, that's where the edge mortising adapter really shines. So like,
Totally.
imagine clamping workstation to this thing. That would be a huge hassle.
It would be, and once a door gets to a certain size, you want something to attach to it versus vice versa.
Right, exactly. So that's why we made this. You can take plate, your universal template for origin, and you can attach it to the work. Bring it to the work, localized cutting. I think that covers that. So we could just go ahead and rip on the second mortise.
Do it.
What do you think about that?
Yeah.
So really the beauty of this, again, is once you set it up, then it's ready to go kind of wherever you take it. So we're turning this door into Swiss cheese here. But I've got one hinge mortise cut over here. I've got another one marked out over here. It's a little bit off of the overhead cam, unfortunately, but we can do it just on the front cam or the origin cam. We'll just get this clamped up and let her rip again.
There you go.
What do you say?
Out of curiosity, while you're setting that up, how many hinges of these hinges would you put on a door like this?
That's a great question. It's a surprisingly complex question. Most door manufacturers have a spec sheet that is like a table. It's like, here's the hinge that you want to use, here's the weight of the door, here's the physical dimensions of the door, like the height and width of the door, because that determines the leverage that the door exerts on the hinges. And you just kind of use your inputs and you feed into that chart. And that tells you approximately how many hinges you should use. I know Sauce has a really good chart for that. Sugatsuni has a really good chart for that. That's what I do.
Cool.
Yeah. So you definitely don't need to guess and check for that stuff. Let's see, Goose, how's this camera angle looking? I think that should be pretty good. He says a little back. How about there? Okay, perfect. Now, let's see if my vacuum cord reaches all the way over. Thank you, Jake. Nice.
A little better?
Yeah, a little better. Pretty good. I think we're... Whoop, lost it.
And we lost it.
There we go. Now I got it.
Okay.
Okay, we're all set. Our bit is still Z-touched. I'm going to go ahead and update my pass depth, and I do that shortcut just by turning auto pass off and on. I'm going to erase my cut history, which is going to erase that blue history that shows where I've cut, and I'm going to change this back to a pocket cut to get it started. Here we go.
Do it. Really excited to have the edge mortising adapter on the market now, because it really does open up the full potential of plate. And if anyone has been following along, you might have noticed that we've had a wooden version on Shaper Hub of this thing since plate came out, basically. And we wanted to make a full-fledged product that someone could just buy without having to make one themselves. But very similar to the story of Workstation, too. Originally, before Workstation was a product, it was a Shaper Hub project. You could download the plans and make it yourself. And for anyone that actually did make a plywood version, you'll be very happy once you get your hands on these captive knurled screws. So if you're gonna like me, you've lost plenty of screws out of the other plywood version. on that last cut. Wham bam.
There we go. I think our vacuum bag might be full, but something for the next show. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Once you know that it fits the first time, it's going to fit exactly the same way every time. It's just like a router template. It is a router template.
Is. It's a digital router template.
The router template of the future.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think maybe we just leave this here for now. We can move this during the shop tour.
It's nice to lean on.
It is nice to lean on. I mean, that's the first half of the show right there. So I think now is the point at which we pull up the poll question. Again, that poll question is going to be, what was it again? What was your biggest challenge with Origin this year?
We really want to hear what you struggled with, your aha moments, the things that helped click, the things that don't click still.
Yeah.
Because we want to help them click.
Yeah, especially the things that don't click still. Yeah, so Goose, we have that poll question up? Goose says yes. Okay, cool. So everybody get on that. While that's going, product announcements, and then since it's the end of the year, I thought it would be just a nice time to celebrate all that we've accomplished this year, all the products that we've launched. And it was a lot, so Jake had to pull the list up on the computer. But I'll get started with the first two, the most recent. The Edge Mortising adapter and the Shaper connected caliper are both now available and for sale on our website. I think it says on the site that those are going to be shipping in January at this point because we've had kind of a lot of orders for them, which is exciting. If you ordered before, your anticipated shipping date hasn't changed. Don't worry. This is just for new orders, just so everybody knows what to expect.
Yeah.
But on top of these two awesome things,
we've Trace.
We've got a heck of a list. We've got Trace.
We've got a whole bunch of new router bits that are on the store. We have awesome studio updates to make that even more powerful. We've introduced spare parts.
Oh, yeah. Spare parts, spare spindles,
we got
spindle brushes, etc.
Yep. We got the Curry Code software update, which woke up the Bluetooth in the beast.
And the slot and polygon features on Tool.
We have the AutoPass free trial, so you can give that a whirl and realize how wonderful it is. You have additions to the hardware catalog. Thank you, Goose. And new masterclasses.
Yeah, new masterclasses and our very first masterclass live, which is something that was super exciting to have here at San Francisco headquarters, and that I think we're planning on bringing to the rest of the country in 2024.
Yeah, what exactly it looks like, we don't know yet, but the want is there from both you and from us. So let's make it happen.
And to cap off the year, that's the whole list, right?
That is the list.
Okay, that's a big list. But to cap off the year, I also want to share with you all that we are in the middle of our biggest deal of the year, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention it. So our holiday promo is running from now through, what is it, December 20th?
It is. You have 6 days left.
Yeah, December 20th. The most important date, though, if you are thinking about this for Christmas, is tomorrow. So tomorrow, the 15th, is going to be the last day that we can guarantee Christmas shipping. And that's kind of what most online retailers are saying is like December 15th. Because, the post office is slow this time of year. They've got a lot of work to do. So December 15th for shipping in time for Christmas. And we've got, let's go ahead and pull up your laptop screen, Jake. Because we've got a heck of a deal. Goose, you ready with that? Yeah, here we go. Countdown timer, December 20th, and here's what you get on this holiday deal. Over $700 in savings. You get the bundle discount when you bundle Origin with Workstation and or Plate, both, either. You get 9 free premium project plans And these premium projects are awesome. They are a great way to just get yourself started with Origin with really detailed step-by-step instructions. And normally these are anywhere from like 10 to 40 bucks each. You get a 2-part training class with Jake and I together, and that's going to be, if this stuff is like a little bit over your head, maybe for plate, edge mortising adapter, we're kind of in the weeds on this show. This 2-part training class is going to get you started from absolutely the ground up on Origin and make you proficient. Then we also have 1 year of studio, and there's one more thing.
A Sys 1.
A Sys 1. Thanks, Jake. And a Sys 1, a free Sys 1 with a customizable foam insert that you're going to get to use for like your workstation accessories or your connected caliper or, you know, whatever tools you want to put in there. I put my hand planes in one. That was fun.
Nice.
Sweet.
There it is. Yeah.
I think that's it on the announcements. Hope everybody got a chance to answer that poll question. Now, we've got a really cool shop tour today. And again, I want to remind everyone, since it's the end of the year, it's kind of vacation time, this might be a good time to record one of these shop tours. If you send us a shop tour and we play it on the air, decide to play it on the air, we're going to send you something nice, usually a router bit, a t-shirt, a swag pack, something like that.
Some brass barbells.
Some brass barbells. We haven't done those in a while.
I know.
Those are fun. We should do those again. We'll send you something nice.
Yeah.
Loose requirements, 3 minutes in length, narrated, landscape orientation, so it's good on the screen here. That's about it. You don't have to have a fancy shop. We've had everywhere from like the most pristine shop into the world to like an absolute disaster, frankly, which is like no judgment. Everybody's been there at one point. We just want to see your shop. Big, small, hobby, professional, the whole gamut. We would love to see it. So send it to us at sessions@shapertools.com.
All right, so today we have Paul at Acute Angle Woodworks.
Yeah, and this shop is sweet. It's in a very unexpected room of the house. So let's pull that up and give that a play, and Jake and I will take this door off of the bench. Okay.
I set this shop up about 3 years ago after moving to Iowa. My wife had found a house with an indoor basketball court, which suited me fine because it gave me high ceiling. I got to display my art, and it was an amazing size for somebody who had been working in a garage. I am a lean practitioner, so some things you'll see in my shop, everything is mobile, so I can reconfigure it based on the workflow that I need. Drawers and cabinets are labeled. The whiteboards over there are where I put my order of operations as I work through a project so I don't miss anything. From a tool standpoint, we start out with the saw stop table saw with the router table embedded. I've got the Incra LSTS fence, which flips around to serve both the table saw and the router. Powermatic 8-inch helical head jointer, lunchbox planer, Supermax 1632 drum sander, works great for me. The Capex on one of my first projects, this rolling cart, the Capex is amazing. You need to get to 22.5 degree cut, it'll give it to you. My dust collection pretty much stays there. It is on wheels, but with the 2 hoses, I can connect to multiple machines at the same time. This was one of the first big projects that I did and way above my head, but I managed to pull it off and I love it. I could sleep down here on that guy. A lot of the equipment that I don't use every day is off to the side here. Drill press, bandsaw, I got my clamps. One of the things I did is I installed a system around the shop to hold my jigs. A lot of these are Mike Pekovich inspired or Bob Van Dyke or Stumpy Nubs. So I keep my stuff organized, out of the way, and readily accessible. This used to just be a steel cabinet, and that really didn't give me a lot of flexibility, so I built these shelves around it. Here's where I have my shaper set up. Right now it's set up for use with my domino. I'm working on a project with a domino. I'm using a stand that was inspired by Ramon. A couple of the other Shaper inspired projects. This logo for Acute Angle Woodworks. I've got it there, and a couple of other things. I created this for my router table for when I work on small items. This is for my bandsaw. All of these were done with the Shaper Origin. So hope you enjoyed the quick tour, and thanks for tuning in.
What a space.
Very cool. Basketball court workshop. Super jealous.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, our workshop used to be an Earl Scheib auto painting garage. So we can identify with weird shop history. I love
Apparently,
that.
cheapest spot you can get your car sprayed in town.
Yeah, old heads might remember those spots. I don't think they're around anymore.
I don't know.
Okay, so we got rid of the door. Let's get back to mortising.
Mortising.
We got rid of the door. We got this huge beam. We got this big beefy tenon that Jake made. And I think that, I mean, this is a good stand-in for like a platform bed frame, kind of. Like, what do you imagine this is?
Timber frame.
Timber frame
but
architecture? Yeah, totally.
Platform beds.
Sofa joinery, the real big stuff.
Good opportunity to show the difference too. This was cut on workstation because you bring this right up to workstation, but we definitely want to use plate plus.
Right. Yeah. How the heck would you attach this to workstation?
Yeah.
You just wouldn't. So we've got plate set up over here. Now it might be a little difficult to show, so let me get this second camera back in action here. What I want to show you guys is the fact that I am clamped actually kind of off the edge of this beam, and using that side alignment position on this to align the edge of this beam, because we're going to join this right to the corner. Okay, so Goose, let's switch to this camera view. Yeah, there we go. So we've got this beam coming out right to here, and I've got this little tick mark on my edge mortising adapter, and that's what I've used to align this edge of the beam. So we're going to get this aligned right up to the corner here. Okay? Cool. And Jake cut this tenon, so I don't really even know the geometry of it off the top of my head. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring up a new workspace. We're going to duplicate this plate template here, and I'm going to rename this plate mortise. Okay, nice. And in here, okay, we're going to place this mortise file where it needs to go. But we need to measure the mortise so that it's accurate. And for that, got to fish it out from under plate here. We've got the connected caliper. So we were using this at the last show. We're going to bring these back. We're going to teach you guys how to use these in depth, definitely, as we're going along. But today we're just going to take some measurements, zip them over to Origin. I do want to make sure this is turned on. I want to make sure this is synchronized. So I'm going to hold this button, and that should connect. There we go. So it automatically connects. Sorry, you couldn't see me holding that yellow button right there. So you hold that yellow button, it's going to attach itself. There we go. We've got that icon coming back up over here. Connected. Perfect. So now we can use that to create, and we're going to create a slot shape. Mm-hmm. This is perfect. We get to use all the new features. So we're going to make a slot. All right, now, first thing we need to measure is the width. Jake, you want to measure that width for me?
Yeah, I do. Width of the slot is bingo.
4.612. Is that about right?
That's it.
Okay, and let's get that height. Let's show Origin screen here so you guys can see that number popping into the calculator when Jake presses the button. There we go. 0.669. That's perfect. And now we don't want this necessarily centered.
Correct.
Right. This is going to look a little funky on the template here, but we want this to be relative to that edge, that rightmost edge. And we want it to be up from the edge mortising adapter because the edge of that edge mortising adapter is right in the center of our grid. So the first thing that we're going to do is position this up in the y-axis by half of the stock thickness. So let me enter that y field. And Jake, you can send me that measurement. 1.677, important, divided by 2. Nice. Okay, and now also, we need to place this relative to the edge of the piece. So that's going to be 70 millimeters minus half of the width. So what's that width there? Total width? Did that send over? It might be too
Oh, you got to
long.
highlight it.
Oh, I see. Okay, so, all right, let's try that again. Send me that number. There we go. Ooh, boy, that's way off there. So we're going to do that. Minus, first we want to divide that by 2 because we're going for the center point, equals, and then we're going to subtract 70 millimeters from that.
Yeah, because it's in the negative.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so this is, thank goodness we have a calculator in here. Minus 70 millimeters. Oh, that's like right in the center. It's off by 7/1000ths of an inch. That's pretty close, huh? That's really funny. Okay. Man, the math on this one might come back to bite us. I'm
It
going
might.
to say this in advance. I really hope that this works.
Hey, but that's why we do it live.
Yeah, that's why we do it live. That one was a little complex, huh? Okay, anyway, let's place that. How deep did we want to cut this mortise?
1.25.
You know what we can do? Is we can go into cut. We can assign this encoded depth.
Oh, yeah.
So go ahead and give me the depth on that tenon. There we go, 1.252. And what I'm going to do is 1.252. I'm going to add 0.05 inches to that, just so that we're sure that we're clear of it.
Okay.
You know, just so that, because you want the
Yeah.
mortise to be a little bit deeper
Yeah.
than the tenon, right? Give the glue a little bit of breathing room. Okay, so that turns into 1.302. Man, I think AutoPass is probably going to be the way to go on this because it's nice and narrow. I should be able to get that whole thing with that 8mm router bit. But let's look at our pass information. So a 0.03 inch roughing offset. I'm going to bump that up a little bit just for caution's sake because we're doing this live. And I think I can knock down the number of passes because it's only going a 1/4 inch at a time. And this fresh 8mm bit is really going to hog it out. What do you think? 0.326 inches per pass?
Perfect.
That's pretty good. And that's just evenly spaced, 4 depth passes and then one roughing pass. Okay. I think that's everything.
Let's hit it.
Okay, here we go. Perfect. That's all set. That looks right. Okay. You ready? Am I ready?
Hit it.
Am I ready? That's the real question. Let's do it.
All right. Perfect opportunity to see how AutoPass works. From the get-go, it's ramping down into that first pass step. And every rotation will ramp down to the next one. For me, the magic is always when it does the final ramp over to the finished pass. It's just a really nice, subtle step over. Sounds like a finished pass to me. And it even retracts for you.
Whew, okay.
How's that?
That felt great.
Smells like Christmas in there.
It does. This wood smells so good.
Doug fir was a good choice.
I want to point out, just before we get too far away from this, that, like, I mean, look at how kind of robust this support is.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not too shy about
Yeah,
putting
you can slide
origin
it out
on
there.
this diving board thing. So, okay, let's see. This might be a little snug, of course, because we did 0 offset on that one, and joinery is a little bit different from hardware. Actually, that's sliding right in perfectly. All right, Goose, we got that on camera. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Nice. Beautiful. So, I mean, that's good flush joinery right there. Good fit, and kind of wouldn't do this any other way. Ooh, that's snug. There we go.
Cool.
Okay, man, I was getting nervous about that calculator stuff. Could you tell?
I mean, you lost me halfway through, so.
Yeah, okay. Well, we got there eventually. All right, I'm going to unclamp this camera. I think we're done with this guy for today.
Cool.
And we're going to unclamp this beam. The last thing that I want to show you, we're not going to actually cut this, but I want to show you the setup for that Salice air hinge, because it uses one last feature of this edge mortising adapter that we haven't really talked about. Or I should say, it's not really a feature of the edge mortising adapter, but it's a way that the edge mortising adapter and plate work together. And we kind of hinted at this when we talked about those markings on the edge mortising adapter. And that is that you can use the edge mortising adapter, whew, I'm dusty, with the side flags of plate to align to the corner of a piece of work. And in this case, that piece of work is going to be a cabinet box, a case, if you will. Thank you, Jake. So here, I can show this off on that overhead cam. What I was doing there was reconfiguring this edge mortising adapter to use that lowest most position. Goose, can we show this on the overhead cam? There we go. So we've got that lowest most position that's in line with the fence. We're going to use that in conjunction with these side flags here to locate on the side of this case. All right, let's bring that in. And I think it can go just right here. Nice. Oh boy. Okay. Big box. All right, and we got goodies in here. We've got the Salice air hinge, so I'm going to show this off on the Origin cam. This guy is super cool. It is a basically fully concealed cabinet door hinge, as opposed to those Bloom Euro-style cabinet hinges. When this thing's installed, all you can see is this linkage, which is pretty sweet. And then we've got a clamp so that we can clamp everything together. Now, the way that the file for this is set up in the hardware catalog is such that you actually clamp along the short direction of the case so that you don't have to use Mondo clamps. Okay? And you can see now that I've got those side flags out. I've got that edge mortising adapter tick mark lined up. I'm going to go ahead and first clamp one side with my quick grip clamp. There we go. Okay, and now here's the key. You can actually go underneath this thing and clamp below it if you need to clamp, you know, not on this flange back here. So I've got this thing clamped actually all the way across this case. You would probably want to clamp it more in line with the edge there. So let's do this just so that it's in the best, strongest position. There we go. Gonna want to do that for sure. This case is also not glued and held together with pin nails, so it's for TV only But let's talk about this. We can show this off on the overhead cam here again. This is all lined up referencing that corner. So we've got this edge mortising adapter at that fence position. We've got these side flags deployed. And now when I bring origin up, we may have to readjust this camera goose because I think I bumped it. But let's bring origin up here. How's that origin cam look? Oh boy. Yeah, there we go. That's a little better. Okay, now we're going to go back in to look at our workspaces. We're going to pick out our air hinge case workspace right here. And we've got two sides. We've got a right and a left because these have a top and a bottom. So this is set up with a custom anchor point at +70, -50. And, you know, let's just go ahead and import that to show you all where that's placed. This is straight from the, wrong hinge, straight from the hardware catalog. We're going to take this right side case file here. And we're going off of that custom anchor point, -50, +70 right there. So we're using that same corner reference that we're using with plate and the edge mortising adapter to place this file. That automatically has all the correct offsets built in, and you could go ahead and cut this hinge.
Slick.
There we go. So there's so many ways to use this thing. It is awesome. You know, we're going to use it for a ton more in upcoming sessions, but that's what we've got for today.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for joining us. We're going to head on into our Q&A section, and it looks like we got quite a few questions.
Yeah, before we go, I just want to say thanks again for everybody who's watching on demand. You know, for everybody who's watching on demand, thank you so much for joining us. We did 25 shows this year. Wow. Joining us for 25 shows. So that's huge. And, you know, you got a couple days left, one more day for Christmas shipping. Make sure you check out that holiday deal, and that's going to be just at shapertools.com. Over $700 in savings, and that is the biggest deal that we've ever done. So it's worth spending a minute just looking into it.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Let's roll into that Q&A.